Howdy, Marty Agather, Agency Nation. And today, I'm coming to you from the Big Eye Winter Meeting in Rancho Mirage, California. We're here in this beautiful location, and we're interviewing my guest, Peter. Peter, introduce yourself to the group.
Hey, I'm Peter Van Aartrijk, and we've done a lot of marketing work in the independent agent channel, and been working with agents, Marty, for, I don't know, 25 or 30 years on all kinds of branding issues. And we've been involved with the Big Eye a long time too.
Yes, absolutely. And you are with, don't be shy, you're with Aartrijk and Associates,
Yeah, and Aartrijk is actually a town in Belgium, and so we took the family name. And it's a tough spelling, but that's what branding's about. You want to be unique, right?
That's exactly right. So for those of you who are wondering, there's two A's at the front of that.
Yeah.
And a J, which doesn't...
Right, it throws people big time. But it's capital R and trike like bike.
Okay,
Aartrijk.
Aartrijk, that's how we pronounce it. That's exactly right. All right, so you and I were talking, and obviously we've known each other for at least an hour or two, right? So we were talking in the recent past about sort of how you are looking at branding these days, and one of the things that you've kind of identified is that there's really sort of two widely separated branding methodologies. One is sort of boring and run-of-the-mill, and the other one is a little more innovative and really going to help your organization. You want to give us a little bit of your thoughts on that?
The two concepts are innovator brand versus status quo brand. There's about 3,000 property casualty insurance companies in the U.S. Most of them use independent agents. And there's how many independent agents? 40,000 of them. Agencies, I should say. And a lot of them are stuck in status quo, which essentially means that they're not growing or growing very slowly. They have average name recognition or below average. They're doing a good job in their world, chugging along. The problem is, in this day and age, average is not going to cut it. And in fact, I think that they're slowly circling the drain and may not be aware of it. And it sounds harsh, but you know, you have to hit people over the head sometimes. But the small subset of those 2,000 or 3,000 P&C insurance companies and the 30 or 40,000 independent agencies, a small subset are doing some really innovative things, and we call those innovator brands. And that's not just unique to our business. I mean, you look at any customer segment, B2B or B2C, and you can tell the innovators. They're just doing some things that are really interesting.
So when you look at sort of what do you think separates one of those average brand from an innovator brand, what are some of the characteristics that you see that you believe help those agencies, those businesses get out of their own way and really start to create brand value?
The biggest one, there's four main categories. The biggest one is leadership. Our industry is desperately in need of leadership. It's pretty scary. And there's a lot of good insurance technicians in our business, and this is a tough business. You know, you have to get things right. That's why we have insurance education. You got to know what's in the policy. You know, you don't want to get sued, give wrong advice. Risk managers that's a terrific field to be in. But that kind of transactional leadership is not enough. It's not enough to be technically sound. You have to have transformational leadership, not just counting numbers and management by objectives, all those sorts of things that happen. You have to be able to transform organizations to take it to the next level and transform careers. It's why smart agents early on were doing things like, hey CSR, you can also sell, did you know that? Oh, I'm not a salesperson. Yes, you are. Let me show you how to do that. And people are like, oh, wow. So in the independent agency, you need to have kind of a vision of where you want to go. So transformational leaders say, here's the better world that we envision here, and we have to do some things to get us there, but here's the road we're going. Again, if you're a status quo brand, you're not thinking that way. You're thinking, well, we're just chugging along, and this is what we do. We're a jack of all trades agency. You know, there's no niches. You know, transformational leaders look for niches and things. They're smart about technology. Obviously, what's going on with the social revolution, they're all over that. So that's the big one, is the lack of leadership. It's pretty appalling, actually, Marty.
There was a book that came out probably 15 to 20 years ago, Michael Gerber, The E-Myth. Do you remember that one?
Great book.
And absolutely. And the point there was, many of us got into business because we love what we do, but unfortunately we're technicians rather than that leader that you're talking about, and I think that that's a huge piece.
Yeah, I know, and the thing is, if you're good at something technical, in this case you're good at what's in the insurance policy, what coverages people need. That technical skill does not translate into a business of people doing technical things. And that's why so many, and this happens in carriers too, where you have underwriters, actuaries, rising through, I'm in charge of the field. They're rising through the company, all of a sudden they're CEO. You're an agent, you're good at selling insurance, suddenly you're an agency CEO, which is fine. It's entrepreneurial world. But you have to, if you're not the person to be that transformational leader and transform the organization to where we need to be, then hire people to do it. Hire an operations person, hire a new CEO who can come in and make those changes that are required. And it's okay to be scared about it. If you're not the one, I used to talk to a good friend of mine, he'd say, if you're scared, say you're scared. So if you're not the person to make the change, who will be? Yeah. So leadership is the first thing.
And one of the challenges I think that many agency principals have is they are beyond their capabilities, but they're running as fast as they can to keep moving, and so therefore they don't know what to do and how to get out of that trap. Yeah. And ultimately they're impacting their own retirement because they're not growing their business to the way they could to create the value when they want to exit the business.
Exactly, yeah. So I think if I had to pick one differentiator, and you know what, the agents that are listening to this, watching this, can probably say, I have 12 companies in my shop, or 20, whatever it is. I know which ones are innovating, and probably most of them are just doing the same old, same old. And you know what? It's okay to do same old, but that's how you pay the bills. But what are you going to do next? Because I think our industry is ripe for major transformation, and it's going to come from the outside. Google, Walmart, Amazon, they're going to come at us. And even if you're an agency that doesn't really care that much about personal lines, or you have in a little box and you're not growing, it's 50% of the entire P&C premium world. Even personal auto alone is 35% of. So you're just going to say, I'm not going to worry about 50%. That's crazy.
Yes,
you can't just be commercial lines. So that's number one, is transformational leadership. The second one, I think, and these all stem from that. If you have the leadership, these other things are going to happen. Is culture. We have to create an environment where the young people coming out of college, that are coming out of their first jobs, are going to look at our industry and say, this is an awesome place to work. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was talking to an agency owner, and he said, I tried to convince my son to work here. And my son said to me, Dad, why would I work in your agency? It looks like a nursing home. It smells like a nursing home. Why would I work there? And it just hit him over the head.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, and I know it sounds harsh, but if you go into a lot of agencies, just start with their websites, okay? That's the first. That's your online office. Does it look like something that other sites you go to? A lot of them just don't. And so I would love to have my own show. I love Agency Nation, but I'd like to have my own show called Extreme Agency Makeover.
Well, and we've talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And so this father who got this, raw, unfiltered commentary from his son, has he grasped onto that and tried to?
Well, he couldn't convince him to come to work there, but he started to make some changes in the agency to make it a more attractive place to work. Again, I know it sounds harsh, but you have to look at everything when it comes to culture. You have to, because the millennials, 95 million people, the largest generation ever, baby boomers about 60 or 65 million, 95 million millennials, they're going to take over this industry if we get out of their way and let them. Mm-hmm. So what do they see from the outside when they look at agents and carriers? What do they see? Do they see male, pale, and stale? Did they see something that looks exciting? Innovator brands are doing things to create internships and bring in young people in and mentor them, because baby boomers like me, you went to work, nose to the grindstone, figure it out. Here's your job, here, do your job. And we did.
Yeah.
That's how we were. Millennials are different. They need guidance. They want to work in a positive culture. They want to know, okay, what's next for me here? They're not going to want to work in a nursing home.
And more importantly, they want to have an impact. They want to be appreciated for what they're doing. Whereas you and I probably did a lot of scut work for a lot of years.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
We're happy to get a paycheck.
That's right. So they're gonna, they're gonna want to work work part of the day in Starbucks, maybe at home. Maybe they don't want to do 9 to 5. They come to the office. They want nice, clean technology. They want bright lights. They want a place to come in and it's like a positive experience. They will not put up with what baby boomers put up with. So CEOs who are care about culture, are constantly nurturing the staff, and don't leave things to chance. And I would love to do another segment in depth on culture alone, because I think that branding from the inside out is so critical. If you don't live the brand on the inside, if your staff does not believe in where the place is going, you can't possibly do advertising and scream from the mountaintops about how great you are. It's not going to work. Because the last mile, which is the who answers the phone and all that sort of stuff.
Or how your website looks, or when they walk, heaven forbid, they walk into your agency, if it scares them,
that's right.
Any of those things, they're gone. They've got too many other options.
And we're so caught up in stuff, like the policies and the stuff. We forget that consumers really don't care about the stuff. They care about the stuff around the stuff, if you will. They care about like trust and loyalty and those kinds of emotional things. I read a good book called A New Brand World.
Okay.
About the CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz. And he was going on a tour and he stopped in one of the local Starbucks outlets. And the barista, as they call him, says to him, you know, I used to think that we were...
now, did the barista know who he was? Or
yeah, okay. Yeah, he knew who he was, yeah. And he said, I used to think that we're in the coffee business serving people. We're not. We're in the people business. We just happen to be serving coffee. A lot of people who are in status quo thinking are thinking they're on the technical side. We're in the insurance business, and here are our customers, you know. Instead of saying, no, we're in the people business. We just happen to be serving insurance. Maybe the next day it might be risk management advice or employee benefits or whatever. It's not the stuff. People want, they don't want to be a number, you know. So I think driving that culture is key.
All right.
The third one is brand.
That's where I was going.
Yeah. And I have this Seth Godin. I don't know if you know Seth Godin.
Sure, absolutely. Not personally, of course.
Right. But he's somebody that's in the social circles, does a lot of commentary. And I've done a lot of work on brand, writing about brand, but I love this quote from him. If the consumer doesn't pay a premium, make a selection, or spread the word, then no brand value exists for that customer. The difference between status quo...
Now, hang on, because I want to make sure that our audience understands pay a premium is not pay their insurance premium.
Right.
If they're not willing to pay a little bit of extra to get what you've got, right? Or what was the other two?
The other
pay
two
a premium,
were spread the word.
Spread the word.
Or make a selection. So in other words, buy.
Yep.
And good brands can charge more, or like the price isn't part of the equation. So that's why that's important. But spread the word, I love that one too, because in this day and age, the pipeline, which everybody thinks in the old days, our days, you throw a bunch of leads in a big funnel,
and hopefully one or two drop out the bottom.
There is no funnel. The funnel, they are finding out about you well before you even know. They've already been to your website. So agents say, well, we get a lot of referrals. We don't need to do digital marketing. We get referrals. Okay, what happens when they go to your website? Are they even calling you? So what opportunities are you losing because you're not creating this social environment? But anyway, so
we had the first three.
Yeah, brand. Okay, and then the final one, which you guys know quite well about, is social, and social media is probably a word that's too limiting. It used to be this big, broad thing, and probably more like digital marketing would be a bigger bucket. We can talk about that later, but I think, you know, every brand is a media company. Every agency, every carrier should be leveraging this new consumer, how they think and get educated.
I might even take it one step further and say every individual in the agency or company is a branding entity as well.
Yes, that's right. So you have the corporation, then you have the people within it. And innovator brands have figured this out, and they are empowering their people to be themselves. You know, why do we put on this professional insurance hat and say, well, I'm a professional insurance agent? And they get all like nervous and scared and well, this is the policy, you know, and then they go online and they try to be that. It doesn't work like that because it's not authentic. People don't want that kind of person.
You know, I have an expression that says people have very strong BS detectors. And if they know that you are being fake, whether it's in your business dealings or online, they're going to sniff it out really fast.
They will. And so what innovator brands do is they know that it's not just tinkering with LinkedIn or Facebook. It's really being a social business, which has a lot of components. But I think if you empower your people to get involved, it's fun. They can be themselves. And if you trust them, if you don't trust them, why are they working there anyway? You know. And speaking of trust, there's really, it's trust, quality, education, and time. Those four components is what should go into what innovator brands already know. And it's trust is important. That's what Trusted Choice is all about. That's why that's such a key word. People trust brands. Quality is that every interaction should be of high quality. That means, you know, and quality service does not mean answering the phone really fast. You know, that's not proactive service. Education is where you are putting things out there to bring people along and educate them about the agency. That's important. People, not sold necessarily, not salesy, but educate me. That's why social is so important. And then time, as in save me time, don't take my time. Because people they don't have time anymore. Who has time anymore? Exactly. I don't have time to call you back. I don't have time for a telephone tree. I don't have time for an email that takes a week to get back to me. So those are what innovator brands are doing. Big difference.
Excellent.
Yeah. So if you find so the thing is, again, leadership, who's at the top, is probably the most important thing that if anybody's made it all the way through this video, it's time to really examine the kind of leadership you have in your organization, because transformational leadership is what innovator brands are doing, and our industry needs more innovation.
Excellent. Peter, I'd like to thank you for your
thank you, Marty.
knowledge today, and we'd love to have you back if you're willing to spend some more time with us in a future date.
Thanks, Marty.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.